I became an artist because I was always interested early on in drawing people and sketching their portraits. And it was always a pursuit to create photorealistic drawings in my own style. But early on, I realized in my undergraduate career, maybe photography made more sense, and it was kind of a quicker route to what I wanted to achieve. The dominant themes in my work include gender relations, investigating post-colonial themes, spirituality versus Western religion, how land is used, environmental concerns. Those are among the larger themes in my work. I approach digital photography in the same way that people may approach analog collage or painting, which means for me, you're going to do anything you can to get what you want in the photograph. The images are pretty formally staged. Like there's like actually a stage or like a plane of space in each photograph. So I feel like the only thing that I can't control, of course, is where the trees are in the background and how the light is back there. But everything else kind of has a symbolic reference. And then, of course, in Photoshop, you can remove different elements if it's too distracting or if it doesn't make sense in the theme of the work. When I'm shooting and combining different elements, I kind of like it when it doesn't fit sometimes, because there's some sort of magic realism throughout my whole work. And I kind of feel like one of the things that I'm trying to pursue in my, specifically the series I came here for, the indigenous storytelling, is that it's all taking place in a world before there was people who were, people alive that can describe it still. And I feel like the world was kind of still being formed and shaped by different people who were there at that time. One idea that always sticks with me is that when you're working with myth, you're kind of getting into the head and the values of your greatest ancestors who created these stories or started passing them down in the first place. So in a way, you're creating a connection that's directly with your oldest ancestors, and you're able to ask the questions of, why did they talk about specific landscapes and which ones were important and what were their cultural and social values at that time. Most often and most recently, I'm trying to depict contemporary issues in the same body of work to create new myths and stories that I feel like with mythology you can do that very liberally, and I don't think they would have survived as long if they just kept them kind of static. They kind of change along with the culture that contains them. Even though I'm not in the South Dakota area, I keep thinking about how important water is for all of us to live. So I did want to do an image based on tribal leadership and how sometimes we make poor decisions that help us economically, but environmentally they're just permanently destroying some of the waterways that are local and immediate to the tribal lands. So in this image, it wasn't based on a mythological story, but we used that same attire, and we created a scene where I was laying down in sort of like a pool of oil, and she was approaching me kind of in a contemplative state. Whether or not there's a conversation between us in the photograph, I think that ambiguity is kind of nice because it invites a viewer to create that dialogue in their head. From the content and the people who are in my work, it might seem that it's only for an indigenous audience or the people who appreciate indigenous culture, but I hope that through the research of indigenous myth and storytelling and some of the other work that I'm working on and in the future I'll work on, I hope that the audience becomes broader and invites curiosity from all who view it.